Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and today I wanted to talk to you about why do people buy gold and silver? And this is a question I get asked often, and I just want to talk a little bit about one factor that's involved, and that factor has to do with inflation and money and knowing what is cash. What's the difference between this and this, right? Well, if you have $101 bills and you have 100 $100 bills. One is $100, one is $10,000. What's the difference? They're both paper. The other difference is that I've been watching too much Penn and Teller, so really I only have $100 here and $100 here. So there's that. But cash is something that people use just as fiat currency. You know, this is just paper with printing on it. And for people who don't even use cash anymore, you just use your debit card. What is that? That's just dot pixels on a screen. What's the value? What is it good for, right? And for people who've lived through history, and also for people who've collected paper money, you understand this, right? What happens to your old currency? It becomes worthless over time. What's really happening is inflation. And so your dot pixels on a screen or your paper money, they don't have any real physical meaning to them except for how they're used. So instead, what a lot of people will do is they'll buy something like silver, or gold, silver or gold, physical assets in general. So this is going to turn into a little bit of an economics lesson here real quick. It's not just gold and silver, but it's things like houses, right? If you bought a house in the last half century, you've probably done really well for yourself. And what happens when a house goes up in value? It's not that the house is worth more, it's that this stuff is worth less. Your currency keeps getting devalued as more and more currency comes into the marketplace. The more that's in there, the more prices rise. And what you want to be able to do is protect your assets. And so that's why people use physical assets like houses, like gold and silver, or other investments. But what you need to do is you need to have an investment that will outpace inflation. So one of the things that that is kind of a way for you to think about this is what happens when we all have $100,000 to spend on a house, right? What's the maximum amount you can get? Well, in 2008, when you saw the big boom in the market for houses, the big bust really, if all of a sudden I used to be able to get 100,000, now I can get 200,000, and you can get 200,000. What's going to happen to the price of houses? Naturally, they're going to keep going up in price. So inflation, you'll be told sometimes by outlets that inflation isn't really that big of a deal because, hey, your new iPhone does more than it used to do, and you can get more for your money when it comes to cars or electronics or doodads or this and that, right? There's a lot more efficiency in the world. These are all true, but where inflation really hits home is how much does your gas cost, your electricity cost, your food cost, and your housing cost? And those numbers, if you look back 15 years, totally different numbers than what they are today. Totally different numbers. And the more money that goes into the economy, the more you'll see inflation. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword having more money in the marketplace, right? So the more that you see minimum wages rise all across the country, the more you're going to see, one, it's going to cost more to shop at those places, but two, all those people, now that they're making more money, they're going to be shopping at certain areas, and it's actually going to go ahead and raise the cost of other things. So anyway, too much economics. The main point is fiat currency, dot pixels, what are you going to do with your money as you earn money? You know, one thing that you can do is buy things like gold and silver, physical assets like houses. It's one of the reasons why you'll see people who have a lot of physical assets, a lot of wealth, buy things like houses. They get into things like artwork and stuff like that, because otherwise, what are you going to do with your money? Keep it in the bank? Keep it in cash? You're just not going to be able to do much with it. It's not going to outpace inflation. So anyways, that's one of the reasons why people buy gold and silver, simply because of inflation. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to me by clicking on the button. Feel free to watch some other videos and leave some comments. Thanks.